For centuries, whispers circulated among scholars of lost texts, ancient writings so profound they could reshape our understanding of history and faith. These were not mere legends. They were the elusive Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of manuscripts hidden for nearly 2 millennia. Their rediscovery wasn't just an archaeological triumph, it was a bombshell, a seismic shockwave through the foundations of religious study. Imagine a desert cave, dark and silent, holding secrets that have been protected by time itself, waiting for the precise moment to be revealed. When those brittle scrolls finally saw the light of day, they didn't just tell stories. They painted an entirely new picture of a world we thought we knew, challenging every established narrative. They demanded we ask, what else have we missed? What other truths lay buried, just out of reach, shaping our world in ways we can barely comprehend? The implications were staggering, promising to decode ancient mysteries. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's get started. The year was 1947, a time of global upheaval, when a young Bedouin shepherd, scrambling among the jagged cliffs near the Dead Sea, stumbled upon a discovery that would change everything. He tossed a rock into a cave, heard the unmistakable sound of breaking pottery, and in that moment, history shifted. Inside, carefully preserved in jars, were ancient scrolls, some wrapped in linen, waiting patiently for their resurrection. These were the first of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of some 981 different texts, written mostly on parchment and papyrus. Their age alone was astonishing, dating back to the 3rd century BCE all the way to the 1st century CE. They were older, far older, than any biblical manuscripts previously known, immediately igniting a fiery debate among scholars and theologians alike. No longer could anyone claim a complete picture of early Judaism or the nascent stirrings of Christianity. These scrolls opened a window into a vibrant, complex world, revealing forgotten sects and practices. Yet, even with their profound implications, the mainstream often sidesteps them. That's why we must explore why mainstream religion largely ignores these monumental scrolls. The sheer age and content of the Dead Sea Scrolls presented an uncomfortable truth for established religious institutions. They offered alternative narratives, different interpretations, and even completely new texts that didn't fit neatly into accepted canons. Imagine discovering an entire library of ancient thought only to find much of it contradicts what you've been taught as immutable truth. This was the core dilemma. For centuries, religious doctrines had been built upon specific, curated texts, shaping beliefs and practices. The scrolls, however, revealed a much more fluid and diverse landscape of belief during the formative periods of both Judaism and Christianity. They showed us that what we now consider standard was once just one of many competing ideas. To fully embrace the scrolls would mean re-evaluating foundational tenets, admitting to historical contingencies, and perhaps even challenging the divine inspiration of certain existing scriptures. It demanded a humility that institutions often find difficult to muster. This unsettling challenge paved the way for groups like the Essenes to emerge in a new light. Among the most compelling of the Dead Sea Scrolls is a document known as the Rule of the Community. It's an intricate blueprint, laying out the laws and customs for a highly structured, pietistic sect, widely believed to be the Essenes. This text reveals a society striving for unparalleled spiritual purity and communal living, far removed from the corruption they perceived in the outside world. Imagine a desert monastery where every aspect of life, from morning prayers to evening meals, is governed by strict, divinely inspired rules. Members committed to poverty, chastity, and obedience, undergoing rigorous initiation rites that tested their devotion. They believed they were preparing for an imminent clash of cosmic forces, a final battle between good and evil. This wasn't just a guide for daily life, it was a revolutionary social experiment. The community's members shared resources, studied sacred texts, and practiced meticulous ritual purity, all in anticipation of a new age. This commitment to structure and purity set the stage for their role in the ultimate conflict, detailed in the War Scroll. The War Scroll is a chilling and detailed manual for the final apocalyptic battle that the Qumran community believed was rapidly approaching. It lays out a precise strategy for the Sons of Light to defeat the Sons of Darkness, an ultimate clash between divine justice and corruption. This wasn't merely metaphorical. It described troop movements, weaponry, and even the trumpets to be sounded. Imagine legion after legion, meticulously ordered, carrying banners emblazoned with powerful theological slogans as they marched into battle. Each soldier, a son of light, was prepared to fight not just for victory, but for cosmic purification. Their enemies, the Sons of Darkness, represented all the wickedness and impurity in the world, including, disturbingly, some contemporary Jewish and foreign powers. This text reveals an intense, almost fanatical, eschatological expectation within the community. They saw themselves as the vanguard of God's army, appointed to usher in a new era of righteousness. Their fervent belief in this coming war was deeply influenced by a pivotal figure, the teacher of righteousness, who we will explore next. One of the most enigmatic figures to emerge from the Dead Sea Scrolls is the teacher of righteousness. This individual, revered by the Qumran community, is portrayed as a foundational prophet and interpreter of God's law, a spiritual leader whose teachings guided them through persecution and apostasy. He was more than a visionary. He was the key to understanding divine will. Consider the profound influence such a figure would have, a man whose insights could unlock the deepest mysteries of Scripture and reveal the true path. The scrolls depict him as a recipient of divine revelation, chosen by God to lead his faithful covenant community. Yet outside of these scrolls, he remains largely unknown, a phantom presence. His existence challenges our understanding of religious authority in that era, suggesting a highly charismatic leader who directly opposed the established priestly class in Jerusalem. His disappearance from mainstream historical records is a mystery, raising questions about who wished him forgotten. This forgotten prophet's teachings deeply informed their unique cosmic dualism, revealed in the concept of the Sons of Light and Sons of Darkness. The concept of the Sons of Light and Sons of Darkness permeates many of the Dead Sea Scrolls, painting a stark, dualistic worldview that shaped the community's identity and mission. This isn't just a simple battle of good versus evil. It's a cosmic principle, an ingrained division within humanity itself, foreordained by God. Every soul belongs to one camp or the other. Imagine a universe where God himself has divided creation, assigning each individual their destiny from birth to either light or darkness. The Sons of Light, guided by divine wisdom, embody truth, righteousness, and purity. The Sons of Darkness, in contrast, are steeped in deceit, wickedness, and corruption, led by the spirit of Belial. This theological framework provided the Qumran community with a profound sense of purpose and self-identity, casting their struggle as part of a larger divine plan. They were not merely isolated desert dwellers, they were active participants in a preordained cosmic drama. This grand perspective often led them to seek deeper understanding of divine plans, as we see in the Scroll of Mysteries. The Scroll of Mysteries, or often referred to as the Book of Mysteries, offers a glimpse into the Qumran community's unwavering belief in divine purpose, even amidst bewildering events. It speaks of a time of revelation and judgment, emphasizing that all things, past, present, and future, are known to God and part of his inscrutable design. Humans, however, are largely blind to this grand tapestry. Imagine trying to piece together a vast, cosmic puzzle with only a few scattered pieces, knowing that the full picture holds the key to all existence. The scroll grapples with the tension between humanity's limited understanding and God's expansive, overarching plan. It suggests that while divine wisdom permeates all things, its intricacies remain hidden from mortal eyes until the appointed time. This text underscores the community's profound humility in the face of divine providence, yet also their fervent hope for a future unveiling. They believed some secrets were simply not for them to fully grasp, only to anticipate. Yet, other scrolls revealed secrets that were far less abstract, such as the astounding Book of Giants, which we will explore next. Among the most sensational of the Dead Sea Scrolls fragments is the Book of Giants, a text that plunges us into the antediluvian world before the biblical flood, detailing a bizarre and terrifying narrative. It speaks of the Watchers, rebellious angels who descended to earth, intermarried with human women, and sired monstrous, hybrid offspring, the Nephilim or giants. Imagine a world where beings of immense power and unnatural origin roamed the earth, sowing chaos and corruption. These giants, born of unholy unions, devoured humanity's sustenance and brought untold suffering. The scroll describes their nightmares, their fear of coming judgment, and their desperate pleas to heaven. This text expands dramatically on the cryptic passages in Genesis 6, providing vivid, almost cinematic details of a cosmic transgression and its horrific consequences. It unveils a richer, darker tapestry of divine disobedience and its impact on the human world, setting the stage for the flood as a necessary purification. This narrative of a corrupted world starkly contrasts with the ideal vision found in the Temple Scroll. The Temple Scroll is one of the longest and most exquisitely preserved of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a colossal document that offers an astonishing insight into an ideal, unbuilt temple and the holy city of Jerusalem. It details meticulous instructions for a grand, purified temple far more magnificent than anything contemporary. It was a divine blueprint, a vision of absolute holiness. Imagine a sacred city, perfectly ordered, with a temple towering at its heart, its courtyards and rituals described in excruciating detail, ensuring absolute purity. This scroll doesn't just restate Mosaic law. It expands upon it, adding laws pertaining to the temple structure, sacrifices, purification rituals, and even the city's defenses. It's as if God himself dictated the plans for his ultimate dwelling place on earth. This scroll reflects a deep eschatological yearning within the Qumran community for a truly holy sanctuary, free from the perceived corruption of the Jerusalem temple of their time. It represents a purified ideal, a vision of heaven on earth. This desire for purity extended even to the very measurement of time itself, as we'll see in their rejected calendar. The Dead Sea Scrolls reveal a profound and radical departure from the calendrical system used by mainstream Judaism in Jerusalem, a strictly solar calendar of 364 days. This wasn't merely a different way of marking days. It represented a fundamental theological disagreement, a war of holy time against the lunar calendar used by the temple priests. Imagine a community living by a rhythm entirely distinct from the world around them, celebrating festivals on different days, observing Sabbaths with unique timing. For the Qumran community, their 364-day calendar was understood as God's true, unalterable divine order, perfectly symmetrical and aligned with celestial movements. It ensured that holy days would always fall on the same day of the week, a reflection of divine perfection. The mainstream lunar calendar, they believed, was a corruption, leading to improper worship and a disruption of the divinely appointed times. This calendrical dispute was a deep schism, highlighting their conviction that they, and only they, understood God's true intentions for sacred time. This adherence to divine order also extended to their belief in dual messiahs. Many of the Dead Sea Scrolls speak of not one, but two messianic figures, a concept that stands in stark contrast to later singular messianic traditions. This expectation involved a Messiah of Israel, a kingly figure descended from David, and a Messiah of Aaron, a priestly figure, both of whom would rule and guide the redeemed community in the eschatological age. Imagine a future world where spiritual and political authority are perfectly balanced, a king justly leading the people, and a high priest guiding them in divine worship. The Messiah of Aaron would preside over the purified temple and its rituals, while the Messiah of Israel would lead the congregation, establish justice, and wage righteous war. These two anointed ones would work in concert. This dual messianic expectation highlights a complex hierarchy of spiritual and temporal power within the Qumran community's vision of the end times. It suggests a more nuanced understanding of salvation and leadership than often presented, revealing a deep concern for both ritual purity and earthly governance. And the scrolls reveal not only such abstract ideas, but also concrete celestial secrets hidden in plain text. Beyond theological disputes and apocalyptic visions, some Dead Sea Scrolls contain fascinating astronomical calculations and observations, revealing a deep interest in celestial mechanics. These texts aren't just religious, they demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos, meticulously tracking the movements of stars and planets. They hint at knowledge that feels remarkably advanced for their time, embedded within sacred writings. Imagine ancient scholars charting the heavens, not just for practical reasons like navigation or calendrical accuracy, but as a way of deciphering God's grand design. They believed the celestial bodies held clues to divine timing and prophecy, that the order of the universe reflected the order of God's will. This close observation blurred the lines between astronomy and theology. These celestial secrets weren't just scientific curiosities, they were seen as integral to understanding God's intricate creation and his unfolding plan for humanity. The precision of their astronomical observations reveals a world much more connected to the cosmos than we might assume. This ancient knowledge, often subtle, finds echoes in later Christian writings. Perhaps one of the most intriguing aspects of the Dead Sea Scrolls is the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, echoes found within later Christian writings, especially the New Testament. While no Christian scrolls per se were found, the theological concepts, vocabulary, and even specific phrases resonate strikingly with early Christian thought. It suggests a shared intellectual and spiritual landscape. Imagine finding parallels in the desert writings to concepts like the teacher of righteousness, the sons of light, or the rigorous ethical demands of discipleship. Phrases like children of light or spirit of truth appear in both the scrolls and the Gospels or Pauline epistles. This isn't necessarily proof of direct influence, but rather a testament to a vibrant, interconnected religious milieu. The scrolls illustrate a spectrum of Jewish beliefs flourishing during the time of Jesus and early Christianity, providing crucial context for understanding the world from which Christianity emerged. They show that many ideas previously considered uniquely Christian were, in fact, part of a broader Jewish discourse. Yet, we still haven't seen all they have to offer, as many texts remain unreleased. Despite decades of scholarship, a significant portion of the Dead Sea Scrolls, particularly hundreds of smaller fragments, remained unpublished and unexamined by the broader academic community for far too long. This decades-long delay fueled intense speculation, whisper networks, and even conspiracy theories about what tantalizing secrets these unreleased texts might contain. What critical piece of the puzzle lay hidden? Imagine an inner circle of scholars holding onto fragments that could potentially upend established narratives, while the world outside clamors for access. Critics accused authorities of deliberate suppression, fearing that the texts might challenge orthodox religious doctrines or undermine the historical claims of various faiths. The implications of such a deliberate withholding were enormous. The slow pace of publication, initially due to logistical challenges and conservation efforts, eventually morphed into a source of deep suspicion and frustration. It raised a burning question. If there was nothing to hide, then why were these ancient voices silenced for so long? This silence inevitably leads us to question why these profound writings were hidden in the first place and by whom. The question of why the Dead Sea Scrolls were hidden in those remote desert caves and by whom has been a subject of intense debate for decades. The prevailing theory points to the Essenes, the ascetic Jewish sect believed to have inhabited the Qumran settlement. They likely secreted away their precious library in response to the looming threat of the Roman invasion and the impending destruction of Jerusalem. Imagine a community meticulously wrapping their most sacred texts, their entire spiritual heritage, and carefully placing them in pottery jars, then secreting them into seemingly inaccessible caves. They were not burying relics for future discovery. They were preserving their faith, their laws, and their vision of truth from an encroaching, hostile empire. This was an act of profound desperation and hope. They believed their texts contained the true interpretation of God's law and future prophecy, something too sacred to fall into profane hands. The decision to hide them was a desperate gamble against annihilation, a testament to their unwavering conviction. This act of preservation, ironically, now forces us to confront a profound hypothetical. What if the scrolls had never been lost at all? Consider a world where the Dead Sea Scrolls were never lost to history, where they remained an open part of Jewish and early Christian discourse from the very beginning. How would this have dramatically reshaped the development of Judaism and Christianity, leading to fundamentally different theological understandings and historical trajectories? The impact would be immeasurable. Imagine a religious landscape where the diversity of early Jewish thought, the visions of the Essenes, and the concept of dual messiahs were always part of the mainstream dialogue. Would Christianity have developed its precise doctrines in the same way, facing a more varied and complex set of existing beliefs? The clarity and dominance of certain canonical texts might never have solidified. The continuous presence of these vivid, alternative narratives might have fostered a more pluralistic and less dogmatic religious evolution, prompting a constant re-evaluation of divine truth. This wasn't merely about historical curiosity, it was about the very fabric of faith itself. So, remember to subscribe for more religious videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.